In this lesson, we are going to learn what is right join. Suppose you have two tables of data. One is the left table, another is the right table. Right join returns all the records from the right table and matching values from the left table. Also, when no matching rows exist, for a row in the right table, the columns of the left table will have null values for those records. Let's see how right join works with some examples. Consider our two tables. We have seen this before. They are part of book publishers database. Our left table this time is top 3 books sold and our right table is book ratings. Okay, so if you see in the left table, we have 3 columns and 3 rows. 3 columns are book ID, book name and author. So for every ID, that is like ID 1, we have the name of the book, The Fault in Our Stars, and author is John Green. Similarly, we have for book ID 3 and book ID 5 also. Looking at book ratings, we have 2 columns and 5 rows. In this also we have a column which is book ID and values are from 1 to 5. And for each and every book ID, we have an average rating. Like for book ID 1, we have an average rating of 4.9. For book ID 3, it is 4.75 and so on and so forth. Okay. So let's see what is the problem that we want to solve over here. So what we want to solve is to get all records from book ratings and matching values from the top 3 books sold based on book ID. Right? So, looks like this problem calls for a right join. The first part of the problem, what it says is get all records from book ratings. That means all the observations from our right table should show up in the output. The second part of the problem is and matching values from our left table, top 3 books sold based on book ID. So what it means is along with all the observations from our right table, the matched observations from the left table should show up in the output. And our criteria for matching is book ID. What all values of book ID match with each other in both tables? As you can see, it's these values where book ID is 1, 3 and 5. So let's visualize how the final output should look like. Here it is. Observe that last 2 columns pertain to the right table. That is books rating. What are the columns? Book ID and average rating. We have all the records from this table in our output as required by the problem. And the first 3 columns pertain to the top 3 books sold. What is that table? That is the left table. If you notice, the data consists of only the matched records. As we have seen in the previous lessons, unmatched observations show up as null. So, you got it, right? Great. Now that you have seen the nature of right join, let's see the code to solve this problem. So what we are doing over here is, as you know, left table is top 3 books sold and right table is books rating. First line of code says select star, means select all the columns of all the tables that are mentioned in the same sequence as they are mentioned. Select star from top 3 books sold as T3. So T3 is the alias name for top 3 books sold and top 3 books sold is a left table as it is mentioned right after from. And first in select statement, it will take all the columns of left table, that is top 3 books sold, which are 3 columns, book ID, book name and author. Then we are having the join syntax. What it is? It is right join. Right join books rating. That is a right table. What is the alias for that? As BR. Now our next set of columns from a select statement would be book ID and average rating, which are the columns from your right table. Joining on a common column, what is that? That is book ID. So on T3.bookid is equals to BR.bookid. Great. So since you know now how to write this piece of code, what we are going to do over here is we will try this piece of code in Metabase. As usual, we will quickly see the input tables and then we will try to get our query. So what are the tables? One is top 3 books. Top 3 books sold. You know this table pretty much, but still, let's have a look so that your memory is refreshed. Select star. It will select all the columns from which table? From top 3 books sold. Let's execute this. And this is what we get. 3 rows, 3 columns, same data as we have seen just few moments back. Book ID, book name and author. Let's see in similar fashion about book ratings. So how many columns we saw over there? For this table, we saw there were 5 rows and 2 columns. Let's see this. Select star from book ratings. Let's execute this one. And we have 5 rows with 2 columns over here as we have seen. So you guys are pretty much aware. We have discussed this, what these columns are saying. Let's switch to what is the problem we are trying to solve. So what we are trying to solve is get all records from book ratings and matching record from top 3 books sold table, right? This is the ask. So let's see what we will do. Let's execute this, and we know 3 columns from left table, 2 columns from right table. So in total, how many columns we will get? We will get 5 columns. And if you see, this second row and fourth row are blank. They are nulls. Why? Because we don't have any matching record in the left table for book ID 2 and book ID 4. That's why we don't have any entry in the right side or in the left side of the table. In the left side of the output table, we have null values over here. Wherever we have the matching, the complete row is filled, where we have 3 columns from the left table, 2 columns from the right table. So all the details are captured over here. Okay. Now let's try to solve a problem involving a right join with multiple tables. We have 3 tables on the screen. First one, you know, it is top 3 books sold. Second one is book rating. We discussed this just now. And the last table is book genre. Book genre is having 4 columns and 5 rows. What are the columns? It has book ID, book name, genre 1 and genre 2. Means if the book ID is 1, what is the name of the book? The Fault in Our Stars. Which genre it belongs to? It belongs to young adult. In young adult also, what is the subcategory? It is romance. Like that, we have further entries as well. What is the problem we are trying to solve? First, get all records from the book rating and matching values from the top 3 books sold based on book ID. In the final output, show all the records from book genres and matching values from the data you joined in the first part. So let's break it down. We already saw the output for the first line of the problem. It's a right join between a first 2 table, that is top 3 books sold and book ratings. This was the output that we initially got, right? I've copied it for you over here for your reference, this output which we initially got. Now that we got the first part already sorted out, let's proceed to get the actual output of the problem with the second line in our problem. Now what do we have to do? As per the problem, it says, in the final output, show all the records from book genres and matching value from the data you joined in the first part, right? This means we perform another right join between a new left and the right table as shown on the screen. So now this output which we got from the first part becomes our left table and this is our right table. Okay? As usual, this means we need to show all the right table observations in the output and match with the left table on the basis of book ID. For this problem, as we have done in the previous lesson, let's assume we need to match book ratings book ID column with the book ID column of the books honors table. Which value will match? Well, actually, we observed that they all do, since book ID 1 to 5 are present in both the tables. Hence, all the left table observation will show up in the output as well. Therefore, this is the final output, that is the solution to our complete problem. To sum up, we saw the joins with our 3 tables. Table 1, that is top 3 books sold records. Table 2, which is book waiting records. Followed by table 3, books honors records. Great. So, can you figure out how to write the code? Try it out on your own. Pause the video and then proceed. Once you are done, we will go over the code together. Okay, so here's the code. Let's see what we have. Select star from top 3 books sold as T3. T3 is the alias for top 3 books sold. Right join book ratings as BR. So we know that we have to do a right join between top 3 books sold and books rating, right? Both are joined on T3.bookid equal to BR.bookid. Book ID is the column on which we are joining. So we got an output, and that output we have to do a right join again with books honor. So right join books honors as BG on BR.bookid equal to BG.bookid, right? So this will give us all the columns that we have. 3 from first table, 2 from the next, total of 5, and then again 4 more columns, so total of 9 columns with 5 rows, right? Let's see this code in Metabase. Okay, so we have seen all the tables. Let's quickly have a look at books honor table also. Let's execute this. And we got the output. We have 4 columns and 5 rows, which tells book ID, name of the book, genre 1 of the book, and the sub-genre, that is genre 2 of that book. So let's solve our problem. What does our problem say? Let's execute this and see what we get as the output. Great. We got 9 columns over here with 5 rows. If you see the second row and the fourth row, it is having null, because in the first output itself, when we are joining top 3 books sold and book rating, we don't have matching record in the left table compared to the right table. So for book ID 2 and book ID 4, we don't have a matching record in top 3 books sold, which is our left table. Now we are using this output itself to join with another right table, which is books honors. So again, if you don't have something in the left table, how can it come? It won't come. Still, it would be blank. So that's how we got 9 columns. So now let's try one more modification to this problem. Okay, what is that? Filter the records when top 3 books sold data does not have a matching record. Apart from the topmost problem, we are just adding one more condition. To solve this, let's see a previous output. Essentially, we are still joining the 3 tables, but we just need to return the records where the table, that is top 3 books sold entries of the output, does not have a matching record. That is the null values. Hence, this is the final output to our table, and the code is also very simple, right? I'm sure you must have guessed it by now. Pause and write the query on your own. Hope you got it right. Just last piece, if you see what we have done, where T3.bookid is null, right? We don't see any matching records. Where we won't have a matching record, when the book ID is null, it means it is not having any match, it is null. That's why we are filtering on that criterion. We just got 2 rows as the output. Rest all query remains same, whatever we have been doing till now. So let's run it on the Metabase and observe our output. Let's use the same query and add the filter condition. What is the filter condition? Where T3.bookid is null. Okay, so let's execute this. And we got the output.